Today, we're going to talk about sports card repackers once again, do a follow-up to yesterday's video where we spoke about the fact that these sports card repackers are telling porkies when they're telling us on how this product should be designed, right? They're sort of telling us lies about how these things need to get done. And we talked to that in detail yesterday, but there's a few things I want to talk to off of the back of a video that Sports Card Nonsense Mike Geo put out on Instagram, as well as Neo Cards and Comics, because there is 100% some ignorance out there when it comes to the justifications that these businesses are telling us as customers on why repacks need to get done a certain way. Now, to give you guys a quick recap, yesterday's video focused in on the price points of these repacks and, what I think is lies around how they tell us they need to be priced, right? They're coming out and saying, well, we have to, pay 90 to 95% comps for things, which is why we have to charge you 150%, which I talked to yesterday being a complete fabrication, complete BS, a complete lie, in order to try and manipulate. It looks like they're trying to change the narrative because there are so many other repackers out there that are doing things ethically, that are doing things transparently, that are doing things above board, and they're not ripping off customers like that. So when these guys are coming out and saying, well, this is how it has to get done, it's a total fabrication, a total lie, in my opinion. And people have come out in the droves in support of that statement as well, because many other people share the same view. I think Neo Cards and Comics talked about it, Dustin, the Sports Card Dad, a bunch of other people. Mike Geo again reaffirmed that in his Instagram live today. And that's where I want to follow up on because, I left a pinned comment as soon as my video dropped yesterday around a counterpoint to what often happens, right? Many people come out and say, well, who cares if these repackers want to charge you 150% of comps when they sell it to you, because that's the only way they can make money, which we talked yesterday's complete BS. But they justify it because they say, well, Panini and Topps give us a terrible return on investment, a terrible ROI, a terrible customer experience. So it's okay for repackers to do it terrible as well, because at least it's slightly better than what Panini and Topps are doing. And I think that is a terrible position to take. And that's where I want to focus in on today, because, Neo again talked about that himself. It's unacceptable. And people are too comfortable with the fact that Panini and Topps have taken the piss with how they've approached, their products and all that sort of stuff, that they think it's okay for repackers to do this. And these businesses are sort of leaning into that fact and leading into that ignorance to rip you off even further. So we talked about yesterday these repackers telling us porkies around how they have to go ahead and price things, and the only way they can make money is by charging 150% of comps, which I talked to death yesterday, so please do check it out because we know that's complete BS. They're doing the same when it comes to the quality they're giving you as a customer, and they're sort of doing this to justify why they're not giving you a description on the floor and the ceiling of the product, why they're not telling you how many packs are actually within the repack, telling you the checklist, telling you, all the hits and all that sort of stuff. They're not telling you this sort of stuff, and they're, blaming Panini and Topps for doing a terrible job for the reason to not do it. And that's not okay, right? Don't let them get away with that crap, right? Because, two wrongs don't make a right. It's total ignorance on their part, and it's just really unfortunate to see so many people ignore that because they want to go ahead and be gamblers. They want to go ahead and chase these repacks, and they don't really care until they themselves get banned or burned, I should say. But I just find it very disappointing to sort of see that sentiment and to again them, as I explained yesterday, changing the narrative on how repacks need to get done. I said yesterday, there's so many good guys like Card Lab, Run Good Life, many others that do repacks the right way, don't charge people an arm and a leg, have really fantastic product, have things with high ceilings and are affordable, right? They're not ripping off their customers when it comes to margins and all that sort of stuff. They're not only making money because they have to charge you 150%. And they're giving you checklists, they're giving you transparency, they're opening every product within that, repack set on camera. There's no hanky-panky going on or anything like that. Everything's above board. Yet you've got guys out there saying, well, I'm not going to do all this sort of stuff because Topps and Panini aren't doing any better themselves. Like they're not comparable, right? They're not comparable at all. Firstly, Topps and Panini have to go through a lot more hoops and hurdles in order to have their product released per consumer law, right? They have to specify odds and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you get burned when you open a box, but that shouldn't justify a repacker ripping you off and charging you 150% comps and then putting a $10 card in there, right? That stuff is not okay. We've seen that happen plenty of times, unfortunately. Now, I will say this, people are idiots if they're spending their money not doing their own research, and this is going to tie into the comments from Mike, because in his live, he sort of specified a few things, right? He basically said, well, I'm not going to feel sorry for people that are doing that because that's their own fault, which I agree with. But he also said it's also a free market. So if a business wants to go ahead and charge 150% of comps or, not give a checklist and all that sort of stuff, that's on them. People will catch on to it eventually. And, I agree with that as well. But the point I want to make with, which is the reason why I make this video and the reason why I jump up and down about this sort of stuff all the time is because, that stuff is becoming the new norm. So it concerns me about what is going to happen to the hobby if that becomes more normalized than what it already is, right? You've already got people who are clearly not going to vote with their wallets, right? They're clearly going to keep jumping in and buying into this crap, and things aren't going to change. So if you've got more and more, breakers turn repackers, ripping people off like this, telling them they have to charge them 150% for this reason, they're not going to give them a checklist, they're not going to give them a ceiling, all that sort of stuff. That's going to become more normalized because more and more people are going to keep buying it. And, whilst it is a free market and we should be supporting capitalism and all that kind of stuff, we also have an obligation as, people and collectors within this hobby to call out this BS when we do see it. Now, that might not stop someone from buying into it, but on the chance that it does, it's going to be the reason why I keep talking about it because, it's not okay that these guys can sort of get away with doing it. And yes, they can make money however they want. People can buy things however they want. But, we need to be talking about it because it's not okay. When they're telling you they have to charge 150%, that's BS. When they're telling you they don't have to give you a checklist because Topps and Panini are no better, again, that's BS, right? It doesn't have to get done like that. There's plenty of guys not doing it and making good money. So when they're saying it needs to be done, it is total ignorance, it's total manipulation, it's total BS. Don't buy into it. If you see it, call it out and vote with your wallets at the end of the day. And I know many of you are not going to do that. Many guys still want to go ahead and buy this shit, but it is what it is. So I think that's my mini rant for today. Please share your thoughts, down in the comments below. As always, I think it's just one that we sort of need, to keep front of mind. It's just really ignorant that people can sort of use the excuse that Topps and Panini are doing a terrible job from a customer experience perspective, and that justifies the terrible offerings that we're getting from a repack perspective. Some people say, well, Daniel, have you bought many repacks? Like, yes, I have. I've been buying into repacks for 10 years. I love them. They're fun. They're a fun way to sort of interact within the hobby. When you've got guys coming in and, manipulating like they are, it's just not okay. And too many people are watching it and seeing it happen everywhere. And they're like, well, this is how repacks need to get done. It's like, no, guys, go watch Run Good Life. Watch how he does repacks. And then you'll see why all these other guys are taking the fucking piss with how they're designing them. So, yeah, mini rant. Apologies for the ramble. Hopefully it made sense. Please share your thoughts down below because I just sort of, hate seeing this crap. And this is going to be the last thing I'm going to talk to when it comes to the whole Seablez repack discussion. I'm going to try and get him on in the channel in December sometime to go through a few things. If you have any questions for him, drop them down below and we can ask it in that one. But as always, thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.